And are you refreshed? Yes. Good. Now what? We're having a very good day, yes?
I wanted to tell you about my efforts to connect with my inner being, and my question comes from that. For the last year, more than a year, I've been doing meditation in the morning, and for a while it was a chore. Oh gosh, I've got to do my meditation now. And then that went away, and I enjoyed it, and I was better at my breathing and concentrating on my breathing. And then, after many months, I realized I was afraid. And I thought, wow, I've been afraid of connecting with my inner being. So that went away. And so now I'm back at square one, trying to clarify, calm myself, get rid of all the extraneous thoughts in my mind. And I've been wondering, because sometimes after I'm successful for a few minutes of concentrated breathing, I actually do clear my mind, and then I'll get some thoughts. One example about 6 weeks ago was, oh, my sister in Florida is in trouble with her house. I should really call this sister. And so one time when I was breathing, I had this thought, I should call my sister. And I thought, well, I know I should call my sister. So for the next few days, I'm like, I got to call my sister. So finally, I acted on that. And for the last 6 weeks, once a week, I'm in conversation with my sister about this house and my upcoming visit. And so I'm wondering, how successful am I? Do I need to measure that? How successful am I in making contact with what I perceive my inner being to be? Or, in other words, am I making, I would like to make clearer contact with my inner being than I have so far.
Well, let's talk about what this connection is. First, we want to say that when your assumption is you're not connected and that you need to be, that's going about it the hard way. It's like digging a hole and having to climb out of it before you can get going. And it's a flawed premise anyway, because you cannot be disconnected from your source energy. In other words, there are degrees of connection, but you can't be not connected. So at best, you can pinch it off with thoughts that aren't up to speed, but there always is a degree of connection. The next thing that your comments make us want to clarify is that when you are reaching for that meditative state, what you're really doing is releasing resistance and allowing the connection. When you said something about trying to make it happen, and we want to soften that just a little bit by saying, when you say, I need to quiet my mind, or I need to not think those thoughts, it's helpful if instead of thinking about what these thoughts I'm thinking, you're thinking about those thoughts that you want to stop thinking, and you're thinking them, and they're thinking you. In other words, and so instead, what you want to do is define what you are going to focus upon, and you discovered that when you said, I'll focus on my breathing. So by focusing on your breathing, you defined what you were going to focus on rather than what you weren't going to focus on, and that went better for you. And we just want to point that out. Listening to the dripping of a faucet, or sometimes Esther will identify some sound in the room. In this room, there is a small refrigerator that has a particular vibration that is very evident, and Esther chose that to focus on as something to think about, because it's a steady sound, and it's a sound that it's helpful if you say, I'm going to put my brain on pause, but putting your brain on pause is more difficult than finding a sound or finding something that you are going to focus upon. So once you get that into place, the next thing we want to say to you is that the idea of meditation, or the idea of connecting with your inner being, we've been talking about it in a different way here today as we talk about closing the gap. In other words, we would like you to think of this in the way of tuning yourself to that dominant vibration that is you. And when you tune yourself to the dominant vibration that is you tune away from those chattering vibrations that aren't you. So we want you to reorient your thinking about what this all is. What is this alignment that I'm seeking? Well, I'm just trying to tune myself to the vibration of who I really am. And of course, that's the same thing as tuning myself away from the vibration that I'm not. But you want to tune yourself to the vibration of who you really are. You want to tune your way there through thought, but you can tune yourself there faster by reaching for the feeling of alignment. And the feeling of alignment is a feeling of detachment. It's a feeling of elation. It's a feeling of appreciation. In other words, we would rather have you in a state of absolute appreciation than in a state of meditation. And in absolute appreciation, your mind is active. It's just active on the kinds of things that who you really are is active upon. There was the only reason we teach meditation as a means to align with your source energy is because it's easier to teach most of you to have no thought than to have pure positive thought. But it's not natural to quiet a human mind. You've trained it to be responsive. And so, especially someone like you, when you sit and you say, I'm just going to shut it all down, that's not natural. So at this point, and so it's not natural for you either. So as you just relax and you reach for the feeling place of well-being, the feeling place of appreciation, that will get you there faster. You've done enough meditating to get yourself in the vicinity. And as you heard us say earlier, the asking of the question and the receiving of the answer are two entirely different vibrations. So now you're at the point, what we would recommend is just get into a good feeling space and then sit with an idea of hearing. Now, to another point that you brought up, when you tune in to your source energy, it's surprising to discover that Source does not have a lot of declarative statements to make. Source is not trying to get you to do something you're not doing. And that surprises you because you've all superimposed your mother over this source energy. And so you think, oh, I've connected with infinite intelligence. It should start bossing me around soon. But it's not like that. When you tune in to who you really are, you're tuning into confidence. You're tuning into clarity. You're not tuning into a definition of what you should or should not do. You're tuning in to this energy of clarity. You're getting yourself into the space where things begin to occur to you. We don't want you to meditate or to connect with Source to get into this different kind of disconnected.
That feels much more like what I'm doing for visualizations these days, because that gives me a lot of joy, and it makes me just, spread my arms out and say, yes, and that's what that feels.
There are several false premises that people begin the idea of meditating from. First, they think, I am unworthy and I've got to get worthy, or I'm not connected and I've got to get connected, or the physical world is not spiritual and I need to connect with the spiritual world. And all of that is screwy. In other words, you are here as source energy in a very spiritual environment, wanting to pave a way so that the whole of you can flow through you into this environment. That's the point of meditation, to prepare yourself vibrationally for a full-on source energy approach to life, you see. We don't want you to meditate in order to withdraw from this experience. We want you to meditate in order to tune yourself to the vibration of it so that you can open into whatever you're about with that full energy pouring through you.
Thank you. That feels better.
And then, as you are receiving, Esther is not hearing us whisper words into her ear that she is repeating. Esther has prepared herself for this moment-to-moment live integration where these understandings occur to her in such emphatic way that she can't not speak them. In other words, she's not listening to the drip, drip, drip of truth. She just gets this impulse, and it overwhelms everything else that she might think about. So her entire work, and yours too, is to just get into an allowing state. And then it's like getting in the vortex, and when you're in there, you know